Today, I'm going to be answering your questions and responding to your comments.
This is a tough hurricane. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Taylor, and I do all sorts of guitar-related stuff like this on my channel. If that's something you enjoy, make sure to subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. In today's video, I'm going to be answering your questions and responding to some of your comments. Before I get started, I just want to mention that the majority of these comments come from my Discord server. So if you haven't checked out my Discord server yet, check that out. There's a link in the description below. And also, if you enjoy my channel and you like these videos and you want to help me keep putting them out, there's a link to my Patreon down there in the description below as well. Patrons get perks like early access to my videos and a private section on my Discord server where we all talk. And we have patron hangout sessions where we play video games and stuff like that. And if you don't want to join my Patreon, but you still want to support the channel, you can just click the like button and, watch the video. Either way, thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate all of you, and let's get started. If you could play live as a guest musician with any band, current or defunct, which band would you play with? That's a good question. I never really thought about it. This might be kind of a weird answer because they're not my favorite band in the world, but I would have really liked to play with Pantera live. What is that? And the reason that I say that is because one time I was in Corpus Christi, Texas. It was a packed club. It was probably like a 500 or 700 capacity club, and it was completely packed wall to wall. And for soundcheck, I played the Cowboys from Hell riff, and everyone went crazy. I mean, they easily went 10 times as crazy as they did for our set of actual songs. And it wasn't the full band, it was just like me playing the riff for soundcheck. So I remember that, and I always thought it was really funny, and I just think it'd be really cool to be able to play, with Pantera in Texas to like a huge amount of people. That'd be amazing. Thanks for the question, man. What is your current practice routine looking like? Is there any particular finger exercises you loathe? Yes, there are definitely finger exercises that I loathe, and the majority of time when I'm practicing, I am just practicing Sacrificer songs. I'm not actually going through like specific warm-ups or things like that. I usually just warm up by playing our songs. And as far as finger exercises that I loathe, practicing anything that's not like musical, that like isn't, immediately fun. That's the kind of stuff I loathe, which means I should probably do it more often. Thanks for the question, man. Are tube amps still relevant for classic bedroom use? Do pedals still relevant, same as above? Is the future going to be fully digital? Every time I hear a comparison of different multi-effect using the same AR, they sound the same. Is everything useless and we need 3 pedals and 50 IRs? Or is there something in the IRs that is sort of a big leveler of the sound? Hey man, thanks for this question. So I think the answer to this question is no. I don't think tube amps are gonna go away because every modeler is emulating a tube amp, so we'll always need the tube amps to be able to model, at least. Even if you were using a fully digital rig, chances are that you are using a digital emulation of a tube amp. So I think tube amps are here to stay. I just think that they're going to get more boutique and become collector's items in a sense. And the reason is because there are so many digital modelers on the market at such low price points that sound good, certainly good enough for like bedroom practicing scenarios. So I think the long answer is no, tube amps are here to stay. I just think the trend's gonna continue and they're gonna be used less and less, and they're sort of just gonna be relegated to like studio use and, collectors and stuff like that. And I think the reason for that is pure convenience. I mean, that's definitely why I use a digital modeler. And to answer your question about IRs, yes, definitely cabinets are the majority of the tone you are hearing, and it really pays dividends to just have a good solid IR that is your go-to, that you like, and use any number of preamps, whether they're free software preamps or like something like an Axe Effects. You can use it with that IR, and you're always going to get a tone in the ballpark of what you like. Thanks so much for the question, man. What is your favorite boost pedal? What are you looking for when choosing a new guitar? This is a really great question. I think my favorite boost pedal at the moment is probably the Fort and Grind. And when it comes to the Fort and Grind, I think you can get that same tone with other pedals, but there's definitely just some mojo going on with that pedal and just gives you that like nasty pick attack just right away, really effortlessly. So that's probably my favorite boost pedal at this moment, but you know, if you asked me again in a few months, it might change. And when I'm choosing a new guitar, there's one of two things I look for. One, if it's a guitar that I don't have something similar to already, I'm usually just like looking at the specs and deciding if it's something that I want to play. And then the second thing that I look for when I'm buying a guitar, I like having backups of the guitars that I use live. So for example, with my Solar V or my Kelly, I don't have guitars that are, you know, similar to those or play the same as those, but I just use them as backups of each other. And I just have them set up in the same tuning with the same pickup selection. But typically, if I find a guitar that I really like, I always try to buy something really similar as a backup. I don't know if that makes sense, if that's just me, but yeah, thanks for the question, man. What is your top 5 GAS at the moment?
I get a lot of pain in my stomach. Like, it feels like a rock band's going on in there. And then sometimes when I'm just sitting at my desk, I can't help it. I just let it go.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with this term, GAS stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome. And to be honest about this, lately I haven't really had it. And I think it's just because I've had so much stuff sent to me lately. And that's sort of like the only thing that my mind can handle is like making reviews for these upcoming things that have been sent to me. But I am really interested in the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. And then really the only other thing that's like guitar gear related that is on my list of things that I need to acquire are, I need new tubes for my amps. So I've been, you know, slowly replacing all of the tubes in my amps over here. And it would be really nice to get another tube head. I'd ideally like a JCM 800, you know, something that's quite a bit different than the amps that I already have. But whether or not I will buy any of those things, you know, time will tell, and yeah, we'll just have to see. Thanks for the question. What's your favorite meal and drinks? Ooh, that's a good non-guitar related question. I really like Mexican food, man. I like burritos a lot. And maybe this is just because I'm a dad now, but in the recent years, I've really grown to enjoy barbecuing.
Arby's, we have the meats.
I just made a brisket for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it was really good. And then when it comes to drinks, the only thing that I drink really other than water is coffee. Thanks so much for the question. What is the most rewarding experience you've had as a YouTube content creator? So I would say in a broad sense, it's just being able to connect to people and talk to people all over the world that share similar interests as me. And then if you want a very specific example, I made a video about a month ago about Nurgle from Behemoth. You know, I just made the video out there. I was trying to do some sort of new content and I just put it out there. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really expect anyone to watch it. And someone saw it and they shared it to the Behemoth fan club. And then Nurgle ended up seeing it, and then he shared it on his social media, and that was pretty cool. It was just super validating for me to like see someone that I really looked up to share a video that I made about them. That was a pretty rewarding experience. And those little things are the things that like you think about when, you know, you're having a really hard day and you don't want to film anything, or, you know, you don't want to edit a video. It's like, oh yeah, that happened, and that was really cool. So let's keep pushing forward and make more stuff like that happen. Thanks for the question. Is there an instrument that gives you the chills more than any other? Like a plucked harp or something like that? At what age did you find yourself really connecting to music and growing to crave it more and more? Good question. I think honestly, from the time I was born, I liked music. I had really young parents and they were both into music. And my dad was really into stuff like Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden, Dio. Like, I will never forget being a very, very small child and listening to Dio with my dad. I mean, still to this day, like the song Holy Diver makes me super nostalgic. And then my mom, on the other hand, really liked new wave sort of music. Like the stuff that I listened to with my mom was like Robert Palmer, Simply Irresistible, Huey Lewis and the News. Basically the whole American Psycho soundtrack. And now that I think about it, that actually makes a lot of sense why I have the musical taste that I do, because I really, really enjoy extreme metal like black and death metal and stuff like that. But then I also really like pop music and hip hop. I never really thought about that before. Thanks for asking that question. What is your opinion on the validity of using synthesizers and electric music production techniques in metal? i.e. Mick Gordon, Doom soundtracks, Fear Factory, Nine Inch Nails, Bring Me the Horizon, and so forth. I think it's great, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think that you can get a lot of like mood and atmosphere from synths that you just can't get from guitars and basses and instruments that you typically find in metal. But I'm also a really big Cradle of Filth fan, so, you know, you're asking someone who already really enjoys synthesizers in their metal anyways. But I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I think you can really add a lot of texture to music just by incorporating synthesizers. Thanks for the question. Any plans to get an 8 or 9 string? Also, would you check out the Hot Tone Legacy amps? The Vulcan 5.0, the Heart Attack, and the Eagle, Joyo Zombie, Joyo blah 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 blah. I could go on. Rev G3 and G4 and the G2 Overdrive. All with your Mesa cab. Hey man, thanks so much for the question and all the suggestions. So to answer your question about 8 or 9 string, very, very unlikely. And the reason is I've just played 8-string guitars and I really didn't enjoy it.
Give yourself to the dark side.
It's just not really my thing. I mean, even 7 strings to an extent, like, I just rarely play my 7-string anymore. Call me old-fashioned, I don't know. And then as far as the stuff you're suggesting, yeah, I definitely would like to check out all that stuff. It seems like I always have this stuff that people are requesting, and some of it I purchase, and some of it, you know, people will send to me to do reviews or whatever. So usually it's just a combination of, you know, any one of those factors, and that's how stuff ends up on my channel. Thanks so much for the question. What's the best plugin that you used? That's a really tough question to answer. I really enjoy the Neural DSP stuff. However, I really don't like the iLok system. But all of that aside, the plugin that I like the most is the THU plugin by Overloud. The remastered cabinets sound out of this world. Like, I don't think I've ever found a plugin that actually sounds like a mic'd up cabinet in a room quite like with this plugin. And this isn't a commercial for Overloud or anything, but I just really, really like that plugin a lot. So there you go. Thanks so much for the question. Any plans on doing demos of pickups? Once life gets back to normal for me, I plan on trying the Hellraiser and Voorhees kill rails from Voodoo Custom Pickups. Thanks so much for that question, man. And also those pickups sound really cool. I don't have any plans on doing a pickup shootout or demo or anything like that in the future, but that doesn't mean that I won't do one. Those sort of demos are just much more involved because, you know, you actually have to swap out the pickups, which takes some time. And, you know, if that's something you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments below, and specifically, you know, what kind of pickups you want to see shot out. Which is the best guitar you own? Why is it a Jackson, and which one is it? Hey Kevin, thanks for that, man. You know, to me, the best guitar that I own, or my favorite guitar, is probably my Solar V. It's the only guitar that I own with, you know, an ebony board and stainless steel frets, and those are both things that I have learned through that guitar that I really enjoy, and something that I will probably be looking for in future guitar acquisitions. Thanks for the question, man. What are some of your favorite video games of all time? I really don't play a whole lot of video games anymore unless I'm playing them with like my son, but I think of all time some of my favorite video games are like the Metroidvania type of games. And I think up until recently, like if I had to pick one from my childhood, the absolute best Metroidvania game is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I mean, that game had killer music, it had awesome bosses, and it was just a really awesome game that I really enjoy. And I think that it's such an awesome game that there have been a lot of companies trying to make games that are really similar to it now. Like one of the best ones that I played recently was Blasphemous. I really liked that game a lot. I really liked the artistic direction of that game and how Souls-like it was. Which brings me to my next favorite game, or series of games rather, are the Dark Souls franchise.
Like a moth drawn to a flame, your wings will burn in anguish. Time after time. Is your fate, the fate of the cursed.
I'm such a huge fan of the Dark Souls series of games that I actually named my company Dark Blood Media, which is a conjunction of, you know, Dark Souls and Bloodborne. Yeah, that's what kind of nerd I am. Alright guys, thank you so much for all of your questions and comments. If you have any questions or comments for me for my next video, join my Discord server. That's the best way to leave them for me. You can leave them down below. I might come back and check out this video next time I make a viewer commentary video, but definitely join my Discord server. It's free and there's a bunch of other metalheads on there that like to talk about guitar gear and nerd out on stuff like that. And if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.